Well, a beautiful day here at Wimbledon. Justine Henin having a tough time in her match with Julia Valkulenko, who has continued to make steady progress this season. It'll be our first look at the French Open champ on court one. Tim Ryan and Pam Shriver.
That's long from Valkulenko, the 19-year-old from Ukraine, and Justine Henin holds to go 4-3. They're on serve in the first set here, despite break opportunities by Valkulenko, 2 break points, and then the following game 2 for the number 3 seed Henin, but they remain on serve, and Henin not looking real cheerful about how this is going so far. You might notice the wrap on her left hand, and that we referred to earlier, suffered in the prep to Wimbledon that takes place in Netherlands, and she fell on it. Is that the case, Pam?
Yeah, she was playing Kim Clijsters, and Justine Henin won the first set, was down love 2 in the second, slipped and fell on the grass and kind of jammed her left hand, and you can see the middle digits. I saw Justine this morning in the gym and asked her about it. She said it was feeling okay, it was sore. And if she wasn't a one-handed backhand player, she might be in big trouble, because we've had some players like Lindsay Davenport with injuries to their left wrist, and you don't think it would be a crucial injury, but the left wrist for the two-handed backhand player is huge. But for Henin, it's okay.
And the 19-year-old from Ukraine, Julia Valkulenko, holding her own so far. There's the 20-year-old. I mean, we mentioned that there's only a year difference in age, but a lot more in experience for this young woman who won the French Open Championship a couple of weeks back, defeating her fellow Belgian Kim Clijsters there. 36-5 with that match record. She's having another outstanding year. 9 events so far this year. She's won 4, been in a final and 4 semis. She's just always there, and she's had success here at Wimbledon. Semis last year, losing to Venus Williams. Final in 2001, losing to Venus in that as well.
Right away, people are going to notice the unique service position of Valkulenko. She stands very close to the doubles alley. She likes to have the extra court to hit into. She's a hard and flat hitter on all of her shots. And you would think that she'd go out wide all the time, or a lot of the time on this side with the angle, but she doesn't necessarily do that.
15-all.
Valkulenko made the second round of the French Open, just 19 years old, turned pro last year. 3-3 on the WTA Tour. This is her 4th Grand Slam match, but first time here at Wimbledon. Henin got that down the line.
And Henin got Valkulenko on the move, and that's the big weakness for the tall Ukrainian, is if she's just standing in one spot and blasting, she might have the advantage on quite a few points against Henin. But on the move, the Belgian's going to win the points 9 times out of 10.
15-30. That's long.
30-all.
30-all.
Henin is getting in play below 50% of the Valkulenko first serves. They've been hard, they've been flat to the corners, and even the second serves have been well over 100 miles an hour, 105 a lot of times.
Good deep shot out to the baseline.
Yeah, that last forehand where she really lays her racket face back, hits it late, made Henin look slow, and that's not easy to do.
30-all. 40-30, pardon me. A little late change on the board. 40-30. You could hear the French expression from Henin.
We heard that a few times in Paris. Allez. Coming on the game point for 4-all. No wonder.
We're at deuce.
likes that one out wide on the deuce side.
5 aces for Valkulenko. Even closer to the line she stands when serving to this box, and then when she's on the deuce side, she's about 6 feet in.
Ooh. So do you think she likes to volley? Let's see. Let's look at that last one. We haven't seen her come to net too much, and Anna Arden just reacted to the power approach with a big shot into the body of the Ukrainian, and she looked really out of sorts as she tried to manage her body, get out of the way, and play the off forehand volley.
Valkulenko, advantage here as they remain on serve.
It's one of those longer rallies that you would expect the French Open champion to win, especially late in a set when the pressure starts to mount. A player who's just for the first time crept inside the top 100 in the world.
Holds for 4-all here in the first.
Winning long deuce-ad games late in a set against a player who's been winning a lot of big matches is not easy. Valkulenko doing a good job there. She had the game points early, kept going back to deuce. She stayed stubborn.
Good serve from Anna Arden. 15-love.
Seen Anna Arden serve and volley on a couple of times in the match. She has such great variety, and grass courts allow her to show off that variety.
30 love.
Well long.
40 love.
Watching Valkulenko play Capriati at the French Open a couple of weeks ago, it was also on the second biggest court, and I think that match is paying dividends today for Valkulenko, just that experience of a couple of weeks ago.
Ace, the first for the Belgian, and 5-4 here in the first set. Board 1. Julia Valkulenko against the number 3 seed, Justine Henin. And Valkulenko, an unknown to most of the tennis world, except those who are following these youngsters very closely. She's just 19, from Ukraine. 3 title victories on the satellite circuit, the ITF titles they're known as. Made the second round of the French Open. And this is her first Wimbledon, and so far she is doing awfully well against the number 3 seed and French Open champion.
So far, so good. Criticized her in the last couple of games because of a net play that didn't look too natural. Anna Arden's coach, Carlos Rodriguez, to the right, her husband on the left, Yves. They were married just about 7-8 months ago after the WTA Tour Championships in Los Angeles.
In November, married in Belgium in a beautiful chateau. Here Arden. They met when she was presenting a tennis trophy at club matches in Belgium. Said it was love at first sight. God bless her. 20-year-old has been through so much misery and in her young life, losing her mother to cancer, estranged from her father and brothers and other family members that she's lost. Correction on that call.
Yeah, and Arden not happy at all. Lynn Welsh in the chair. So the correction actually awards the point to
40-15.
Valkulenko. It's 40-15.
Good serve.
Oh.
Whoa. Didn't have to take more than 2 steps to get there to the service line and just blast that volley. Swinging volley. And we're even at 5.
Well, Anna Arden is a player who likes a rhythm, likes to have a pattern and to be able to have rallies and use her artful variety. But in this match, it's just brute force on the far side of the court, and Anna Arden is not feeling comfortable at all.
But Pam, having said that, she has been out there and been successful against the Williams sisters, Capriati and others. I realize Valkulenko is the tallest, I guess, she's faced, but what's the difference that you're seeing and how much the surface have to do with that and so on?
Well, I think there's a lot of things coming into play right here. It's her first match at a major. She played a smaller tournament last week where she fell and injured her hand, but Justine Henin Arden's always had a little bit of a difficult time after big results. She beat Serena at Family Circle this year and lost the next tournament at Amelia Island to Dementiva. She doesn't feel comfortable yet with her successes, and it sometimes comes out in the next tournament. Now, it's a little bit early to say that's the case here. I just think she's playing an awkward opponent who's got the strangest service position well out wide, hits the ball hard and flat. Even with the Williams sisters, you hit more balls than you do against Valkulenko.
So it's not just about Valkulenko's stature or size, it's more about these kind of oddities in her game presentation.
It's everything right now.
It is everything right now.
I mean, even that, you win the point. Anna Arden wins the point, but all she's done is gotten a serve into play, a mediocre serve, and her opponent misses the return. She'd rather have a 6-7 shot rally, feel like she's in the point, and still win it.
Point from 6-5 here in this first set. Valkulenko gets a second serve to look at.
Hard to play well against opponents like Valkulenko.
Long, and so Anna Arden holds, and she leads 6-5 in set number 1 in this first round match. The number 3 seed, Justine Henin Arden, leading 6-5, and serving is the 19-year-old from Ukraine, Julia Valkulenko. At 15 love, trying to force the tie break. SportsCenter's coming next at the top of the hour here on ESPN2. Our coverage of Wimbledon, the Championships 2003, will move over to ESPN. So be sure to stay with us for more from this match. Henin Arden, Valkulenko, and Valkulenko, a forehand error there. 15 all. You'll also be seeing on our coverage from Wimbledon, Jennifer Capriati, her match coming up as well against Miriam Casanova, a youngster from Switzerland. Like Valkulenko, one of the young stars you'll be seeing much more of in the years ahead on the WTA Tour.
Ooh, big unforced error there.
Another one.
15 love and 2 straight errors. Now 2 points from losing this very well played first set for Valkulenko, ranked 98 in the world, playing her first Wimbledon. Had to qualify at the French, won a round. Yep, it's nerves at this point. 3 straight errors.
Comes the big games against the big players. These youngsters naturally feeling it. Court 1, a packed house. Wimbledon on the grass.
Couple of set points.
Ball was long. Valkulenko just struggling with nerves, and so the number 3 seed, Justine Henin wins the first set 7-5 over the youngster from Ukraine. We'll be back with more. The all button when you do it. Do I have a card? We're back here at Wimbledon. Those of you who have been watching this match, Henin and Valkulenko on ESPN2, it'll continue. Well, here on ESPN, we're going to continue with the match here on court number 1 at Wimbledon with the number 3 seed, Justine Henin, as she has just won the first set 7-5 over the 19-year-old from Ukraine, Julia Valkulenko. 7-5, and the youngster battled very well. In fact, had the more experienced Henin somewhat rattled here and there through the first set, Pam. But then the youngster's nerves showed in that crucial final game.
Yeah, Valkulenko just ended up giving the last game to Henin, and top players are always ready to receive that fine gift.
So the Belgian serving to open set number 2. 50-30 love.
And working her way to net. Henin, and with good reason, Vakulenko's shots are not exactly built nicely to come to net on, but Henin has the capability of serving and volleying, which she did once early in that match, and then she shied away the rest of the time. But she's got to just sort of spread her wings a bit, realize she's a major winner now. She's won the French Open. Pressure of her career is pretty much over when you win one of them, and get into this match a little more.
First game,
well, she took charge in that game. A love game for Henin. They'll change ends immediately. This play is continuous here into the second game, and so a good start for the Belgian, and let's see how the youngster from Ukraine responds.
I say the pressure is over, and to a certain extent, anytime when you win that first major, you've validated yourself as a special player. And you know, obviously, if you start piling them up as your career goes along, then you start to enter the stratosphere of the superstars. But Henin right now in this match just looks a bit tense, a little tight. But it's a better start. She's showing more variety. She's moving forward more quickly. That time she shows you her touch as well. Turned pro 4 years ago. I remember seeing Henin at the Australian Open playing Hingis about 3.5 years ago, and she was impressive then. Everybody thought that she possibly could be a major winner.
Double fault from Valkulenko. It's her third.
Henin has managed to defeat Serena Williams a couple of times in a row now, and Valkulenko would just like to have that first big win over a top player. Played Capriati at the French Open, losing easily. This is a much better performance by the Ukrainian from Yalta, born in Yalta.
It's long.
15-30.
15-30.
Actually, Vakulenko's been all over the place. She trains in Barcelona. She was born in Yalta, moved to Yugoslavia when she was 8, and then moved out of Yugoslavia because of the war. I mean, she's just been all over the place. Speaks like 20 languages.
As a French coach, Christian Fiol.
And has a very strange position to serve from. This is where you play doubles from.
Powerful forehand, drawing the error from the Belgian.
Henin has the ability to change the pace of the ball up. She's not using that variety in her game. She needs to take some of the power of Vakulenko, take the pace off, hit some loopy balls, get Vakulenko a little out of rhythm right now. Vakulenko likes it in the hitting zone, likes it hard and flat. Oh.
Well, that's a fine return.
Well, we've said all match long that when the server stands so wide, the line is
30-40.
open to you, but can you hit it? And that's the first time in the match that Anna Arden has been able to find the line with a winner down, straight down the line.
Let, first serve.
The ad court, she stands almost at the sideline.
Break point.
Let, second serve.
Good return.
Game.
That draws again the error from the 19-year-old, and the break goes to the number 3 seed, Anna Arden. 2-love here in the second set. She has a set in hand.
For the second major in a row, Anna Arden finds herself in the same half of the draw as this new rivalry with Serena Williams. As you can see, the match update. Break points, that's the big number. 0 for 2, Valkulenko 2 for 4. Anna Arden.
15 love.
Top half of the women's draw, always when the defending champ is the number 1 seed, the top half will play on day 2. And it is a loaded top half. With the defending champ and the winner of the last major, Jennifer Capriati, is in that top half as well. Mauresmo, the talented Frenchwoman, was drawn to be in the top half, but she pulled out with a rib injury.
Oh. 30-15.
30-15. And Arden trying to exert control here against the young 19-year-old, having had to battle her way through the first set before Valkulenko just kind of collapsed in that final game.
And Anna Arden's on a little roll here, but it's still not, she's not playing that well yet. I mean, she's up 2-love, but that was a 30-15 point on her serve, and she's so quick right now. She's ready to play again after a bad error. Take a little time. I mean, the quality of play is certainly not what it could be.
Point from 3-love.
There she was going to serve and volley for just the second time in the match, but it's good to see the variety start to come out. It doesn't always come out in the first round. You've got to work your way into these championships. Oh, that hit the line. And when it hits the line here, it really stops the progress of the ball. It's almost like playing on a different surface. It hops up a lot higher.
Advantage, Mrs. Henin Arden.
And there it is, a 3-love lead for the number 3 seed from Belgium, Justine Henin against Julia Valkulenko. We'll be back.